Holy shit, that came in hot. Hey, everybody, it's Ralph. Welcome to the Secret Society. I am live, and I've got StreamYard in the comments. I have my sister Sarah in the comments, and my friend Emily is in the comments. Listen, this is my first time doing this live, and it's going to be a little bit of an experiment. Hopefully, I'll be able to get guests. I kind of want to do it every Tuesday. I'm thinking this is a nice night to do it. We're done with Mondays, and we're going to move on to start getting into the rest of our week. Charlie Weaver's here. I know Charlie through the Geek Dad Live discourse with over there, Jay's channel. And this is a show that I'm going to be doing on Patreon. I'm thinking every week. I might do it every other week, but if something comes up, like let's say this Friday, I go to a B-52s concert, I might be here next Tuesday. So the plan is this is going to be a Patreon only show. Maybe I'll do one a month that's free for all. But I want to drum up support from my Patreon members. Rick DeMint is here. He is a Patreon member. Emily's also, and so is Sarah. So thank you for coming. Charlie, I'm not sure if you are. If not, it's no big deal. You support Jay, which is just as good as supporting me because we're all friends. So yeah, this has been a pretty crazy week. I mean, I've just gotten cue the music going on. I have live action Star Wars going on. We're smack dab in the middle of Andor. So if you head over to liveactionstarwars.com and check out that show, it's phenomenal. And then Halloween, which was uneventful, sort of. We just stayed at home and no one came by to take any candy. So after we're done with this, I'm going to have some candy. But the big thing that happened is a couple of months ago, it was announced that Danny Elfman was doing a concert at the Hollywood Bowl. I'm not the biggest fan of the Hollywood Bowl. And it takes a lot to get me to the Hollywood Bowl. And this was a lot. Danny Elfman, and not only like Danny Elfman, like doing like I've seen the Nightmare Before Christmas live with the orchestra playing to the film. I've seen that a couple times. I've seen him do his Tim Burton show, which is great. He did all the music from Tim Burton movies up until like whenever it came out. That was maybe like, I don't know, 10 years ago. Who knows? But this is the one that he did from Coachella, but expanded. So not only did we get Danny Elfman's new music, which I'm not too keen on, but we also got his Oingo Boingo stuff, and we got his film score stuff. And so this is something where I'm like, all right, I got to go to this show. It was 2.5 hours of Danny Elfman just commanding the stage. It was amazing. Thanks to my sister. Yeah. So what I'm hearing is we get to see live music once a week. That's what I heard. I mean, if you want to get Ambrosia tickets, I know that's soon, but it's not me. Like I'm not a concert goer. I've never been a concert goer. So it's not like it takes a lot for me to get out and go to a concert. I've never seen the B-52s. And this is their farewell concert. And I can't wait. I can't wait till Friday. I was actually looking forward to that concert more than the Elfman one, because I've seen Elfman several times, but I've never seen the B-52s. But man alive, I don't know. That show on Saturday night was absolutely nuts. Bill's in the chat. Hi, Bill. How you doing? And look at that. Charlie Weaver just joined. It's $1. It's $1, and you unlock everything that I've done over the course of the last 5 years on Patreon. I don't know how long it's been, but it's been a while. So thank you, Charlie. I don't have your family button like Jay does over on his show, but thank you very much. I hope you enjoy the shows. There's a lot of fun stuff in there. And everything that goes onto the Patreon, everybody that supports the Patreon, all that goes into this studio here, Live Action Star Wars, Cue the Music, and all of my other podcasts. It helps me get stuff like my monthly Photoshop fees, my hosting fees, the studio space. So it's really, really helpful. I'm not asking for a lot. What's nice about the Patreon is it covers that kind of stuff. And so we can all hang out and enjoy each other's company for just for the buck. So, the concert. Again, thank you to my sister for getting those tickets. She secured them, and then she got 2 other tickets for my friend Steve Zaragoza and my friend Owen Carter. If you know Steve, he's from Dynamic Banter, the Valley Folk. You've seen him on SourceFed, and then Owen is usually around those places wherever Steve is. My sister fronted the cash for 6 tickets, and it was super awesome of her, and I'm glad she did, because the show was absolutely amazing. Didn't really know what was going to get into, like, as far as the show goes. Like, I saw the Coachella performance of Elfman, and that was an hour-long show. So Elfman did double that and a half. Yeah, I don't know what's a double and a half? 150%, something like that. So yeah, he started off, the majority of it, I would say you would have like 1/3 of it was his new stuff, Big Mess, which is a project he did during COVID. And I'm, to be honest, not terribly a big fan of that stuff. It's very angry, rightfully so. But if you listen to like Michael Giacchino, he did a project over COVID lockdown that was a lounge space thing, and it was very fun and very uplifting and stuff. Danny Elfman was just mad. He was super mad, and so they had some of that music in there. But I got to be honest with you, like, I actually preferred listening to it live because it rocked. It was pretty awesome. It didn't sound like Boingo. So we had 1/3 of that, 1/3 of his score stuff, and then 1/3 Boingo. It was great. Charlie says the B-52s put on a great show. I've seen them multiple times over the years. My college roommate introduced me to them in '89, as well as Oingo Boingo and many others. That's awesome. That's awesome. My sister introduced me to Boingo. I kind of knew Danny Elfman from summer school. We used to watch summer school all the time, and that's what I would listen to. I knew him from summer school, and then of course Beetlejuice. I was like, hey, that's the guy who sang the song for summer school. And then when Batman came, I was all over. '89 was when I really got into Elfman, and so it's kind of been like that ever since. Man, I got to be honest. Like, this show, so he started off with a new song. He did a Boingo song, Insects, which was great because he added in some more lyrics and made it more angry than the Boingo version. So that one's kind of a mix between Big Mess and Boingo. But after that, the third, because I have the track list up right now, the playlist from the concert, up third was the Spider-Man main title. Now, I told my friend Steve before this, and I told my sister Sarah before this, and everyone knows before this, that I said, you're probably going to see me cry. And when Spider-Man started to play, that's when I started to get tears in my eyes. And there's nothing I could do about it. There's nothing I could do about it. I think the thing is, like, my whole life since I was a little kid. Here's my copy of Raiders of the Lost Ark that my mom got me from Columbia House in '81. I've been listening to film music like my whole life, and it's one of those things where me and Stevie have been married. We're coming up on 23 years now. No, that's not right. 20. Shit. Well, we've been together for 23 years. That's what I meant. We're coming up on 23 years in 2 weeks, in 12 days. Jesus. And the thing is, she'll listen to scores because I'm listening to scores. But there's not really a lot of people I know that, listen to scores almost exclusively. And it's not like she seeks scores out. I can't even imagine what she would put on if she were to put on a score. So listening to film scores feels like something that I do alone. And so when he started playing the theme to Spider-Man, I was now listening to a score that I've known since 2001. When did that come out? 2002. That the full orchestra. Yeah, Bill, there's a full orchestra there. Um, and there was a band. It was a full orchestra and a band, and they're playing the Spider-Man thing, something that I listened to countless times. But now I was listening to it with like 17,000 people, and a lot of these people are probably there for Boingo. It is Halloween. It is Southern California. I saw a lot of Boingo shirts out there, but there was something about listening to that with the full orchestra, with 17,000 people, that made me emotional. And I turned towards Steve, and I was sitting in the middle. I turned towards Steve and Owen, and I just had tears in my eyes. And I looked at my sister and Stevie, and they saw tears in my eyes. And I was just like overwhelmed with emotion. And I think it's because I know my sister was nervous about getting the tickets. I was anxious about her getting the tickets because I really wanted to go bad. She got really good tickets. They cost a lot. Um, uh, uh, we had months to wait for it. We stood in line for like 45 minutes. It's like this big, long buildup of this thing. And finally, after sitting through two sort of big mess songs, um, I got to hear the orchestra play Spider-Man, which I've never heard live. And so one of my dreams that I absolutely need to fulfill in my life is going to a scoring session where they actually perform the score to record it for films. It's so it was like crazy emotional, and it was like, I don't know, I've been a fan of Elfman since 85 with Pee-wee, definitely 87 with Summer School, and Batman in 89 and Beetlejuice. So it's been a really long time. And um so it just, that as soon as that happened, I was on board. He did some more of the other stuff. He did some of the big mess stuff. That's what I refer to as the other stuff. But man, he did Nothing to Fear, Just Another Day, Gray Matter, and it just all kind of started coming through and hit me really, really hard. It was, I I have this thing where, like, when I go to concerts, usually they're for film scores, and so I'll wear a button-up shirt, maybe a tie. I don't bust out my phone. I don't. I sit there and I appreciate the music, and that's it. That's what I do. I don't go to a lot of concerts where there's words, and when I do, I'll listen to it and let them perform. I never understood singing along to music during a concert, um, ever, ever. I'm like, why am I here to listen to this guy if I'm just going to sing over him? So I never sing. That all changed with this show. This show, there was so much fucking energy in at the bowl that every time like a Boingo song came up, everybody stood up and started singing. The playlist was nuts. It gave you time, and probably did give Danny Elfman time in between Boingo songs to sit down and let the orchestra play some themes. But even when they went on to do the breakfast machine from Pee-wee's Big Adventure, he he brought out a snare drum and started beating the snare drum with every dun 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 dun. Dun. Not only that, there was a full choir there in the back of the orchestra. They busted out snare drums and were going crazy. So we had a full orchestra, a band with Danny Elfman on guitar or on the xylophones or whatever they called. He uses the special xylophones with gourds. A guitar player, a bass player, and a drums, and another percussionist. So it was there was like a full horn section, a full string section. So you're getting the classic Elfman scores, but when you get the Boingo songs, there was these sort of breakdowns in the middle of the songs with the full orchestra. And every single time the orchestra kicked in to do these solos, like me, Owen, and Steve, just our jaws dropped and we just stared at each other. Both Owen and Steve are big fans of Elfman. They watch the Coachella shows, both Coachella shows that Elfman put on. I watched both of them, so we kind of roughly knew the set. And anytime something new came on, we got really excited, especially. And I think the first time we noticed it was after Beetlejuice. Uh, he did the Batman theme. It was great. And he did Beetlejuice, was just great. And those are totally expected. But the thing that threw us off the most was Mars Attacks. The opening strains of Mars Attacks hit just the very first ooh, me, Owen, and Steve popped up, looked at each other, and all screamed, Mars Attacks. And I couldn't believe it. Of all the things to pick, of all the Burton stuff to pick, like Mars Attacks is one of my favorites. And from there, it was like game on. Like he's got to fill an extra hour and a half worth of stuff. Like, what is it going to be? And I figured it'd be more Boingo songs. I didn't think there'd be more score stuff, but Mars Attacks, oh my God, guys. It's so good. And with the lighting in the bowl, the bowl segmented into half circles. They were like green and black and purple stripes going during Mars Attacks, and there were black and white stripes for Beetlejuice. Like the lighting was fucking amazing, and the music. I mean, I'm getting super excited about it, and it's just me remembering. We all kind of had things that we wanted to hear. I just wanted to hear any score. My brother-in-law Ed wanted to hear Simpsons. Guess what? He played the Simpsons. My sister wanted to hear Gray Matter from Boingo. Guess what? We got to hear Gray Matter. We got to hear pretty much everything we wanted. We like the closer we're getting towards the end, we are like running out of things we could think of that they would perform. Mark says Danny Elfman unexpectedly ripped and tatted. Yeah, that was like one of the big things at Coachella. Like I follow him on Twitter and stuff, and he did a lot of 3D scanning during the pandemic for Big Mess, where if you look at the cover, it's his face and it's all twisted. But following him on Twitter, like, and Instagram, like I knew he was ripped, but when he showed up to Coachella, everyone just went crazy. They're like, holy shit, he's so ripped. Dude's 69 years old. I probably got up and sang along because I was so excited. I got up and sang along with probably 4 or 5 songs, and my throat was killing me. My throat still is sore, and I'm pretty sure it's not COVID. I'm pretty sure it's from yelling at the top of my lungs. Granted, he has a microphone and he's a trained singer, but dude's 69 years old. I don't know how he'd spent 2.5 hours nonstop with a couple of breaks with the orchestral stuff. I don't know how he did it. Yes, Sarah says the same thing. Charlie Weaver asked, did Elfman record the Hollywood Bowl show? I don't know how that works, because there are screens that project to people who are sitting in the very back row. I'm assuming they would have to record it. I don't know if they show them though, because the thing is why would you have the cameras there and you have the live stream running in the bowl and not hit record? Like, it doesn't make any sense to me. And they're all hooked up to mics, and they have like a console in the middle of the crowd that has all the computer monitors set up with all the TV angles or all the video screen angles and stuff, and soundboards and everything like that. They also were, before the show, were selling this 100 Years of Hollywood Bowl live performances, like a 7-disc CD box set with recordings from the bowl. So clearly they're also recording sound. So whether that gets released to you guys, I mean, shit, like it blew the Coachella performance. I didn't see Coachella live. I saw it on live video, but like, you got to put it somewhere, make it available. I'll purchase it, but it put that to shame. This show was fucking awesome. But again, I didn't see that one live. I only saw it on tape. I was there live for this one, so I could feel the energy of everybody. Our row, the seating isn't great at the Hollywood Bowl. You have to be a bunch of real skinny people to get everyone to fit on the bench seating. There was a guy who could not fit at the end of our row because there's just no room. But he stood there the whole time, was laughing, was drinking, was chatting with his friend who was sitting down. They switched spots. They were chatting to Steve the whole time and Owen, and they were drunk and talking about Boingo in 82 and having a good time. So everybody was in a super mood. So being there live might be different than watching a taped version, but holy shit, like if they have it, they have to have it recorded. I don't know who owns that. I don't know if that's something Danny Elfman could put out. Danny Elfman at the end of the night was thanking us and saying that this was probably one of the best nights of his life. He thanked everyone for being there. It seemed like this was him being able to like celebrate his own life and doing it on his own terms. It was like, hey, listen, I have fans who like me for many different things. I'm proud of my work. I'm going to go out there. I'm going to get musicians and we're just going to put on a show. And he said it at the beginning of the show that he's like, this is going to be like a weird mix of stuff. There's going to be stuff from Boingo, Big Mess, and from uh, movies and TV. And he says, it's going to be weird, but it's going to be me. And that was the greatest thing. It felt like, it weirdly felt intimate. Like he was really like, the spotlight was on him the whole time. And so just being able to see that and be there in person was great. And I'd love if they put it out, if they put it on iTunes or Amazon Prime or put it literally anywhere. If Danny Elfman sells it on the site, I will buy a copy because it was an amazing night and I'd love to relive it. I don't know if I'd go see the show again because I don't think the experience will top Saturday night. I feel like for me to get back to the bowl to see Danny Elfman do another show like this, it would have to be an almost completely new set. And of course, he would have to do Dead Man's Party, which he did. He came back from let's see here, Dead Man's Party. He came back for the encore, did Who Do You Want to Be from Oingo Boingo. And what's great is he put in a new verse, and it was a modern verse, which shit on like Justin Bieber and the Kardashians and stuff. It was fucking amazing. That's one of those songs where me and Steve and Owen and Sarah and Stevie and Ed and everybody in the place was standing up singing along. And our jaws dropped when there was new lyrics. Danny Elfman, before he did the show, did a poll on his social media asking which would Boingo fans rather hear at the show, Insanity or Ain't This the Life. Now, Insanity was the sort of the big, quote, big hit from their last album, Boingo, and Ain't This the Life was like their first major song off of their demo record. So it was like, which fan are you? Which Boingo fan are you? A newer one or an old school one? I picked Ain't This the Life, which is an older song. And he ended up playing Insanity at the beginning, but he also played Ain't This the Life, which me, Steve, and Owen were saying, well, just play both, dude. Like, why are you making us choose? Just you play both. And he ended up playing both. So when Ain't This the Life came on, me, Steve, and Owen stood up, and not a lot of Boingo fans stood up for this song. There was maybe, I think me and Steve and Owen were the only ones in our section, but we sang along like crazy and then had to stop because he added a new verse. And I was like, holy shit, there's a new verse. It was amazing. Dead Man's Party, of course, was the big song at the end of the night, and everyone went ate shit. And it's not my favorite song by Boingo. It's a little overplayed for me, but what's great is they played the guitar version. Steve Bartek came out with the guitar. Steve Bartek was conducting the orchestra the whole time, but came down to play guitar for Dead Man's Party. And they played the original arrangement, which starts with electric guitar. It starts off, it's the guitar, instead of the horn version, which you're probably used to, that starts off dun, 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 that version. So they played the guitar version. There wasn't a lot of horns in it, which was fine. It kind of missed the horns, and there was a whole horn section. But the horn section did play horns for the other Boingo songs. They just didn't for Dead Man's Party because they stuck with like the original arrangement. I think, what was that, 84 or something like that. But I'm not the biggest fan of that song, but I do prefer the guitar version over the horn version. And It's way different hearing it live with everybody yelling at the top of their lungs. So that was the big finale. He thanked everybody. He went off stage, and of course, the orchestra was there. And we waited and waited, and he came back out to do two more songs. Who Do You Want to Be with the new lyrics, and then the big finishing one, which we're like, there's only one song he could play because he had already done Only a Lad. He did Wild Sex, which was I don't remember hearing live before. Um, but he did the finale. The very, very last thing was No One Lives Forever, which is perfect for Halloween. It was it was pretty fucking awesome. It was a great night. I can't even begin to tell you how happy I was with the night. Steve had joked about us getting COVID, and I was like, you know what? Me and Stevie haven't gotten it. My sister and Ed hasn't gotten it, and are like, if I'm gonna get it, fuck it, we'll do it here. And then I'm showing up to P52s with the mask, but holy crap, top of my lungs the whole entire time. Um, Nick Gillinger's here. Nick, good to see you. Yeah, I mean, I just think it's overplayed, especially around Halloween time, especially on like Southern California radio. But live with Elfman singing it and Bartek on a guitar, like nothing makes me happier. Bill asks, I think Giacchino's is going to do something live soon. I hope so. I've hoped so. I've seen Giacchino live 3 times, and they've all been um, the lost, what do they call it? We Have to Go Back, the Lost Symphony. I kind of want him to do his movie scores. Speaking of the Hollywood Bowl, when I saw Giacchino last time he did the Lost concert in California, he did it at a place across the freeway from the Hollywood Bowl called the Ford Theater, and I think that seats around 7,000, and that's a great fucking venue. I the parking's easy, getting in and out's easy, unlike the Bowl. But Bowl has to be something that I really, really want to see to get me to go through the process of getting in. And this concert was definitely worth it. Sarah says, I go to the Hollywood Bowl all the time. I've never seen it that packed. Again, thanks for getting the seats. We were in the section right behind the box seats where all the sort of you can like purchase a box to sit there for a whole season. So we had really good seats. I was really excited with the seats. We had a great view of the stage, and we had a screen, one of the big close-up screens right next to us in case we needed to look. It was like right in our line. It was the perfect seats. I absolutely love the seats. If I can get seats like that, I'd go back to the Hollywood Bowl to see something. But it'd have to be something good, because it seems like every time I go to the Hollywood Bowl, we're sitting way up in the back. It doesn't sound that great, and the people up there are a-holes, and I can't stand them. I can't stand them at all. Last time I saw Williams there, I've seen Williams there 3 times. The last time I went there, the lightsabers drive me nuts because I'm there as a film score fan, not a Star Wars fan. I'm there for the music, and seeing the lightsabers drives me fucking bonkers. That's my own issue. I'm not blaming anybody. It's just something that I have a hang up about. But the last time we were there, this lady pulled up her phone and she was recording the Star Wars theme. William started doing the Star Wars suite. And then that Star Wars theme then goes into like Princess Leia's theme and then the Ewok music and stuff. And while the music was going, she went back to watch the Star Wars theme on her phone at a loud enough volume where I can hear it. And I tapped her on the shoulder and I would say, hey, they're still playing music. Like, can you please shut up? Oh, I was so mad at that lady. Then the first time we went to go see Nightmare Before Christmas, where they play the orchestra live to film, the performers would come out and sing the songs live. So Danny Elfman would sing for Jack, which he did at the show too. Catherine O'Hara would come out and sing for Sally. All of this great stuff. But when they weren't singing, the orchestra was still playing music live to the footage, and you would get people like talking and chatting all around me, and I'm like, there's still a performance happening. I know it's just the movie, and the movie has this music in it already, but it's being performed live. So the bowl for me was never really like worth the effort. But now with these lower seats, I mean, we paid a lot more than normal, but I mean, this is maybe an extra $100. I don't know how much extra a ticket it was. I don't think it was but whatever it was, made it totally fucking worth it, because everybody in our section was way into the music and way into the performance, and we're singing and laughing and having a good time and chatting and having fun and doing all that crazy stuff. Bill says saw him for his 50th in London, where he ran the gamut. Oh, was that yeah, he did a show in London. Man, I need to see where he's doing his scores, as opposed to just doing the Lost one. So if anybody has any questions about this Elfman thing, I think I've talked half hour straight about this. And in fact, talk amongst yourself while I grab a sip of water. Thanks, guys. This was totally an experiment, but I set up the new studio, the CasinoSkunk Secret Society live studio. I plan on doing this more. I want to bring on guests. I don't know if it'll be every Tuesday, but I will be here next Tuesday, and that'll be exclusively on my Patreon. And for Patreon members who are watching this now, well, I mean, you're also going to get the audio version of these. So the day after these get recorded in the morning, you'll get the audio version, so you can listen to these in your feed, in your normal Patreon RSS feed. So look forward to that. I definitely plan on talking next week about this B-52s concert. I can't guarantee that I'll get a concert done a week, but man alive, thank you for joining me. For those of you who are watching this free on YouTube and on Facebook and Twitter, go down here, patreon.com/CasinoSkunk. It's my Patreon page. You know how Patreon works. My page is $1. It's $1 a month. It unlocks everything. I do breakdowns of John Williams themes in Star Wars, in Indiana Jones. So all the different leitmotifs, check those out. I just finished up Saturday Serials, where I do live running commentary with folks in the chat, talking about things like Flash Gordon, Flash Gordon's trip to Mars, Flash Gordon conquers the world, Captain Marvel, things like that. That's taken a break for a while, so I can test out doing this live show, which will be Tuesday nights, unless something else comes up. But keep an eye out on Patreon. Keep an eye out at Casino Skunk on your socials. So be sure to follow at Casino Skunk for all the updates on all my shows. Like, all right, let's do a podcast, Darmalars, VHS Dude, Live Action Star Wars, Invincipod. Holy shit. And cue the music. I have a lot of podcasts. And for those of you guys talking about Michael Giacchino, go to cuethemusicpodcast.com. I just did an interview with him last week about Werewolf by Night. I have some exclusive content on some Easter eggs that involve me. So if you want to know about me being an Easter egg in the MCU in Werewolf by Night, check that out. I pre-ordered his record for Werewolf by Night. That's coming in March. I'll definitely do unboxings there. If you go to youtube.com/cuethemusicpodcast, I do exclusive unboxings on that channel. So, why am I telling you guys all this? Check this out. I created a banner for all of this, for all of it. So there you go. Nick Dillinger says, was a great interview. Dude, I had a blast. Michael is a good friend, and it was fun talking to him. It was fun talking to him because to be honest with you guys, I've known about Werewolf by Night for about a year now, because we play Fireball Island, the board game from the 80s, every Sunday via Zoom. And he told us a little over a year ago, like last September, about it. And it's been so great. It's been so great watching him discuss the movie with us, telling us the ideas he had. And I remember the day he went to Atlanta to go start working on it. And I could tell he might have been a little bit nervous because, I mean, directing an MCU thing would be nerve-wracking. And to see the outpouring of positive responses, like, you don't see that. You don't see that in anything. You don't see this kind of positive response for any comic book, Star Wars, any sort of genre thing. It's always, there's always just shitty people out there. And the only complaints I saw about his Werewolf by Night special was that it was too short. And that's a good thing. It leaves people wanting more. And it means that people liked what they saw and wish they had more. So congratulations to Michael. Head over to cuethemusicpodcast.com and or just follow at Twitter at cuethemusic and check out that interview with Michael. We had a blast. It was a long time coming, and I can't believe StreamYard really fucked up my video on that one. It's the one I didn't need the video to get fucked up on, and it's the one that that happened. So again, thank you to everybody. Thanks, Charlie, for joining the Patreon page. It means a lot to me. Go hunt for stuff. There's some stuff with me and Jay in there from, like, I don't know, like 5 years ago. That's a lot of fun. Me and Jay talk about Lost. We come up with what a Lost reboot could be. And then you will learn about something that I'm working on currently that you cannot share. Only Patreon members know about this thing that I'm working on. Do not mention it in the chat because this chat is public and free. But you're going to want to go over to my Patreon and check that out. I've said too much. Thank you, everybody, for joining me. This was a blast. I'll see you next Tuesday when I talk about the B-52s. So until next time, bye.